Hello and welcome to Atop the Fourth Wall, where bad comics burn. Atop the Fourth Wall began as a dream. A dream to ape the styles of movie recap and review sites like The Agony Booth or Jabutu's Movie Reviews, but do it with comics. As I have noted a few times before around this time of year, eventually those text reviews dried up because of the time investment without much in return, but eventually I made the leap to video, transposing many of those text reviews into videos. Nightcat, Uncanny X-Men number 424, even the original Youngblood number 1 review. Those and many like them began life as text reviews, but a few never made it to video. This year, for the show's 10th anniversary, we're gonna finish what I started so many years ago and remake my oldest reviews in a different medium. We're gonna start with an indie comic. Since all non-Patreon sponsored episodes this year are follow-ups to old reviews, think of this one as the follow-up to all those never-were-a-thing indie superhero team books that we've covered. Zero Patrol, New Men, Law and Order, 22 Brides, hell, even sultry teenage super foxes. This one comes to us from the short-lived company Techno Comics, spelled with a K instead of a CH and with an X in comics. Because poor literacy is cool! A more accurate name, though, would be Celebrity Comics, with celebrity spelled with an S or something to continue the naming convention. Seeing as the books were basically just, hey, let's have a celebrity writer come up with a few concepts and then run with it. And thus was the case with Gene Roddenberry's Lost Universe, Leonard Nimoy's Primortals, a crap ton of Neil Gaiman books, and of course, today's outing, Isaac Asimov's iBots. The company was started by Mitchell Rubenstein and Laurie Silvers, who are apparently also the original brains behind the Sci-Fi Channel back in the day, with Techno Comics serving as a subdivision of the company Big Entertainment. Unfortunately, while Techno Comics was primed to have a large promotional push, even kiosks in malls to promote it, it was a classic case of the people in charge not knowing what the hell they were doing. Writer James Vance wrote on his blog his experience of working on the book Mr. Hero, based off of a Neil Gaiman concept of a Victorian robot being awoken in the modern day. Vance had intended it to be a somewhat satirical romp and had long-term plans, and the people who owned the company started micromanaging from day one, with the executives thinking he should have a more 90s-esque human-looking form and screw around with the storylines so that everything was rushed. It was made even more comical by the fact that they ended up holding a reader's poll about whether they should return to the old design, and the readers overwhelmingly said, yes, go back to the old stuff, so all the meddling was for nothing anyway. And that's actually one of the lighter examples of meddling. His then-girlfriend, a later wife Kate Worley, also worked on the aforementioned Primortals for one issue, because they altered the dialogue of her first script, then fired her when Leonard Nimoy disapproved of the changes they had made to it. From what I can tell, iBots definitely did start as an Asimov creation, one that would get remade into a full-on novel by Steve Perry in 1998. Based on what I've read about Techno, it's likely that while creators were sold on the idea of sci-fi comics different from the standard superhero fare, the corporate side was more interested in creating their own superhero material, probably inspired by the speculator boom in the industry that had just come and gone. After all, they may not have had gimmicky foil covers, but at this point, having top-tier talent behind books sporting the names of respected authors was a better way of selling these things than trying to convince people that a Rob Liefeld first issue would be worth money someday. The original review came out on April 21st, 2007. Let's see if my opinion has changed in the 11 years since then by digging into Isaac Asimov's iBots number 1.
Welcome to Atop the Fourth Wall, where bad comics burn. Linkara's gonna teach you all a lesson you won't learn. Brodsky, you're not the smartest. Life out, you're not an artist. Anyone who's had a bad comic published, it could be your turn.
The cover is okay, giving us a group shot of our heroes, but it's more dynamic than them just standing there. They're posing, potentially showing off personality traits. Honestly, my only complaints are, 1, the outfits are meh, very generic and unmemorable, though kudos for giving them all distinct colors. And secondly, that the scene depicts the heroes standing amidst the wreckage of robots, which seem to be colored purple, the same color the background photographers are shaded as. So at first glance, it looks like they're doing these poses while just standing amidst a bunch of garbage. The pencils for the book are done by George Perez, so this is one of those rare occasions where we're looking at a book where he isn't trying to draw 50 gajillion people in one panel. We open at some kind of press conference. Absolutely vital that we fully support new technology development, with tax dollars if necessary. If we don't, the Skynet program might never get off the ground. So high tech can be controlled by the government instead of those independent researchers who develop it? No thanks. I invented the Kilotron 9000 for research purposes, damn it! This is all being viewed through some kind of high-tech camera lens. We know it's high-tech because there's writing along the edges like visual, online, and mode, seek. And the thing that makes it truly futuristic, everything is tinted green. Someday, technology will advance so that we can show more than just the shades of one color. Dream of a better future, my friends. On the stage are a bunch of robots, and one of them gets shot by the guy with the camera lens, apparently utilizing a bullet that fires an electromagnetic pulse. With the robots disabled, and apparently on fire or something in this panel, a group of high-tech criminals swing down from the ceiling and command everyone to shut up. Who are you? EMP slugs are restricted to cops and militia. Didn't we tell you to shut up? You can't silence the truth! Boy, when I file a report on you guys for using technology you're not allowed to, boy will you be sorry! They shoot him in the shoulder. Think of this as a favor, Senator. You don't want the mouth there taking your cushy job away come November, do you? Well, to be honest, I was considering becoming a gun lobbyist. That goes for all of you. We got smart bullets. You wouldn't believe the amount of apps we have for these bullets. You know, it's funny. The original text review made a few jokes about Apple products because of the name iBots, and now I'm making smartphone jokes. Atop the Fourth Wall, leading the way in dated humor. They lock onto your heartbeat and nothing stops them. They always go for your heart.
With the replay button and another Zorg invention, it's even easier.
They take the other guy at the press conference hostage and drag him along to the elevator, telling the crowd to call whoever is in charge of the guy's money that there will be a ransom demand soon. However, once they reach the elevator, someone reaches out and grabs the lead two's guns, crushing them.
Colt 45, semi-automatic. Play-Doh.
It's revealed to be this woman, who I guess was on her way to the pool given the bathing suit she's wearing. As she swacks two together, the others open fire on her. This is Killane, and wow, is that a misleading name for a character from the 90s. After she tosses some of the goons around, which somehow makes them roll at very bizarre angles, more members of the iBots appear, starting with their leader, Psi-4, which is apparently supposed to be pronounced Cypher, but if they wanted that, why not just spell it as Cypher? Then there's Stonewall here, who unfortunately has that hair. I mean, yeesh, the mushroom top curls and a Star Wars Padawan rat tail. I feel sorry for the guy for looking like that. Anyway, Stonewall goes to protect the civilians as the kidnappers decide to open fire on the crowd. Most of the smart bullets end up hitting him. Weren't these supposed to go for your heart? Ugh, they really need to release a new patch for these things. Some of them do manage to arc around him. Work on your maneuverability and response speed. If we make mistakes, people die! Like those people who just got hit by bullets because I was lecturing you. But no, I guess that homing technology makes them the slowest bullets in the world, since Psi-4 is able to use his abilities to reprogram them from a distance. It's not clear what happens in the next panel. Either the bullets are exploding or their guns are, since they don't seem to have them anymore. Realizing that they're done for, the kidnappers make a run for it, right into Killane. Killane is apparently familiar with the Vulcan neck pinch. A swerve, a nerve, no damage, and you're down!
Oh, no, stupid. You got it much too high. It's down here where the shoulder meets the neck.
Another member of the team shows up to block any who get past Killane. Radiant, who is able to keep light from hitting their eyes to blind them. She seems to be familiar with that herself since she has no apparent eye holes on her mask. Behold, the final stages of Youngblood's disease. The last villain holds the guy they were trying to ransom, putting a gun to his head and demanding he be allowed to leave. I walk out of here and you do nothing, or his brains go for a walk. However, the last member of the team, Itazura, drops down from behind. Politicians need brains? That's a new one on me. I find they could also use some courage, some heart, maybe some should go home. Basically what I'm saying is that politicians should all just go to the land of Oz. Itazura takes the guy's helmet off, suggesting he's gonna kill the guy, but Psi-4 stops him. Easy, Itazura. Remember the protocols. If you're gonna kill him, you need to file the appropriate forms first. The senator they saved, Silver, calls them amazing. However, the guy who was shot is less appreciative. You're not human. You can't be. What are you? If I'm gonna die from this wound, I'll die doing what I did in life as a politician, being very judgmental, accusatory, and wasting a lot of time. How did you know what was going on here? I told them, Kevin. They're with me. Oh my god. Radiant is my ex-wife! No, it's a voice that's coming from Radiant's hidden eyes, which begin glowing and display some dude's face in them. Man, the revamp of Google Glass as contact lenses was not what I expected. Her eyes apparently project a hologram or something of this guy, Zach Robillard, whom the blonde guy claims is dead. Welcome to the new age, Kev. These things don't mean quite what they used to. Death really just means subletting someone's eyeballs. The two have a back and forth about Kevin's cousin and her company that's apparently responsible for all this. I love how Kevin needs to poke his finger into him to confirm it's a hologram, which sadly with the artwork makes it look like he's actually swirling around in there. Hey, where's the cream filling? Tell her this is the company I run with now, and we've stopped running. We're starting a band and she can't stop us. Kevin doesn't know what he's talking about, but the conversation is interrupted by a nearby explosion. As the hologram disappears, the police enter from the door labeled Robot Access. Unless that little sign above it indicates no robot access? Maybe it's because it's stairs. Isn't that right, Poyo?
It just keeps happening.
The senator leaps in front of the heroes as the police call for everybody to freeze. You boys aim somewhere else. That neurotrash on the floor is who you want. Ah yes, neurotrash. Obviously they're people hailing from Europe. These fine specimens, nice spelling error there, saved my life, and I'm offering them my hospitality and thanks. First things first, I need a hairdresser for this guy. Kevin seems to have come around on that, confirming that our heroes solved the situation. The cop says they want names and addresses for all of them. Contact them through me. Tell terrorists and criminals there's a new law in town.
I am the law.
Its voice will soon be Gregson Silver, and the new long arm of the law is The Amazings! See, now why the hell wasn't this book called The Amazing iBots? A reporter talks about these events. And so a moment of horror apparently becomes a promise of hope, while America and the world wonders if this was all a clever political machination. A political machination with a lot of live ammunition. Or whether, as with computers and the atom bomb, we have been thrust, unawares, into a strange and unknown future. I'd say the bigger unknown is your hairpiece, dude. Did you go to the same barber as Stonewall? Also, gonna love the future with our floating TV screens tinted red. The latest in Virtual Boy technology. We're inside of the offices of Annabelle Brennan, Kevin's cousin, and the woman Zach Robillard was talking about. Kevin forces his way inside past the security robots to speak with her, demanding to know if what happened was her doing. Geez, check out the fashions of the future. Her dress is fine, although her collar is a bit exaggerated, but the best parts are the two pointy, teal-colored sleeves that aren't actually connected to the dress.
There. Sure glad I don't look stupid in this.
There's some family drama that's quickly exposited to us. Their mutual grandfather put her father in charge of the company, so she then inherited it, but Kevin and his side of the family apparently should have gotten it in their eyes. In fact, Annabelle apparently wanted the career in politics he's gotten into, but it's moot at this point. In any event, she tells him to get out of her office here at Conhuge Co., and then contacts someone named Blissero. Blissero, we seem to have a problem. Someone stole the real sleeves from my dress, and I had to make do with these. Soon, we see the terrorists being hauled away in some kind of police tank in a forest, but they're supposedly here to transfer the prisoners to another truck. The police are naturally confused about this, but the prisoners soon realize the truth as something shoots at them from above, killing both the cops and the prisoners. We soon see Blissero, having apparently shaved his mustache between scenes, in some kind of attack helicopter.
We have a total resolution. No one will leak anything but fluids.
Paper towels are being deployed now. Turns out he wasn't alone with the attack helicopter, having also used a group of military robots, including this Megazord-looking one. We cut to the mansion of Senator Silver, who offers to let them use his home as their base of operations for their crime-fighting activities. And that's how you know this is a work of fiction, that a politician would give up his house for other people to use. I think you misunderstand us, Mr. Silver. We don't fight crime, we
help people, yes. But isn't fighting crime the best way to help the largest number quickest?
Okay, now he sounds like a real politician. Radiant explains that crime is only one of many ills they want to deal with, although one wonders exactly what other uses Radiant's powers actually have. Hey kids, it's time to play Everybody's Blind! Silver asks Psi-4 for his opinion as the leader of the group. I'm not leader, Mr. Silver. I'm only first among equals. So, the leader. Yeah, bullcrap you're not when you were giving out orders during the fight. Before Silver can ask more, Psi-4 says he's busy wave surfing. Considering Radiant is giving the shush motion with her hand, I'm guessing wave surfing is just him going to his happy place. Psi-4 also wants to add that we won't be calling ourselves the Amazings. Yeah, well, every other superhero team name has been copyrighted. You don't want to end up having to call yourselves the Ravagers, is all I'm saying.
When did he say that? I didn't hear him.
No, you didn't. You couldn't. Wave surfing is just his coded way of saying, I don't want us called the Amazings. It's a very odd and particular code system. We cut back to Blissero and his robot buddies saying that the iBots have all been located at Zero's place, and Annabelle wants them taken out. However, Zach Robillard is also listening in and transmits all of this to a news broadcast. Blissero and his forces attack, with Radiant telling Senator Silver to stay behind Stonewall. Our heroes start fighting back against the robots, with Radiant even displaying some kind of new power that sends out energy waves or something to repel some of the bots. Our not leader Psi-4 berates Stonewall for standing tall and protecting the Senator instead of doing anything else. What exactly does he expect him to do without putting the Senator in danger? Ichizura confirms that despite the iBot's name, the group is not robots. After some more bickering between the two, with Psi-4 in particular being pissy for no reason, I'm beginning to wonder if his wave surfing was actually him looking at porn and he got interrupted. Blissero is confused about how some of his robots are getting hacked, believing that this is now a setup. With the robots destroyed, Robillard congratulates them.
The world's never seen anything like you, kids. A lot's gonna change, and a lot of people won't much like it.
For starters, Psi-4, I know you won't like this, but we are indeed going to call ourselves the Amazings. Blissero is ready to open fire with the helicopter, but his co-pilot points out that a bunch of news choppers are now flying into the area.
The press? Please, not the press! The press asks questions! I mean, I know I gunned down some cops earlier, but I get really nervous when people ask me questions.
The reporters start coming in to ask what the hell the deal is, and apparently that's part of Robillard's plan. The idea being that their enemies won't dare come for them if they're in the public eye. Because I guess in this world, senators getting attacked by robots isn't really something the public cares about enough to deter this sort of thing. Back at Annabelle's office, she's dealing with a migraine while wondering how the iBots are working on their own, when she's suddenly contacted by the council of evil people she's working with, including this skeleton with a thin layer of skin covering him, Future Guy from Star Trek Enterprise, and Tony Stark with less convincing facial hair. They demand to know who these new players are and why they haven't been gotten rid of yet. And so our comic ends with Annabelle saying that the iBots belong to her and that she'll gladly explain in the next issue, presumably, because why would we want to know anything about our heroes in the first issue? This comic is okay for the most part, but man, in 2007, I was a lot more pissy about it. That's the benefit of 10 years of doing this. After Marvel, Holy Terror, and so many Rob Liefeld and Greg Land books, This doesn't even come close to the level of snark and vitriol I threw at it back in the day. It's not great, but it's perfectly fine. It introduces the varied characters of a superhero team, it sets up some plot points for future issues to explore, there's some decent action, and the artwork is pretty good. George Perez has certainly done a lot better, but it's still got a standard amount of quality given how many characters there are in this, and they all look unique. Sure, there's a lot of goofy bits in this, futuristic fashions in particular, but it's not the worst thing I've ever read, and I could see this leading into a stable and enjoyable book after this point. Next time, we take a fresh look at what was my second review ever written. An episode that I had promised to transcribe to video way back during the first year of the show, with Thunderstrike #1. Press? Please, not the press! The press asks questions!
Can't! The press